Yo, what is up guys, it's the Goblin and welcome back to their Call of Duty World War II video. Now, as pretty much all of you guys know by now, the Division overhaul that happened in this game about a week or two ago changed pretty much everything. Well, not everything with the class setups, but a good chunk of what you should run and especially why you should run it. Divisions are good in different ways now and they do different things. So I thought I'd take a minute and talk today about a video that's going to be a best rushing class in Call of Duty World War II. I know people like to come to me for class setups and I've been testing them out since this update. I definitely have a lot of stuff, especially with the new weapons. I have to get around to making classes with those as well, especially the good ones. I'm really feeling the ITRA burst right now. I'm kind of on the fence of as to actually how overpowered that gun is, but I definitely think it's a really good gun in the game. But for today's video, we're going to be talking about the best rushing class in this game because the Airborne division has changed and a bunch of other stuff. So if you guys could drop a like on this video, I would definitely really appreciate that. If you guys want to see more class setups from me for after this new overhaul, after everything has been changed, I want you guys to, number one, smack a like on this video. Let's go for 300 likes. That'd be amazing if we could hit that. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and also comment down below what guns or what sort of situations do you want me to make a class setup for. Of course, today's is more, of course, the gun we're using is the Type 100, but today's class setup is more centered around rushing and someone that wants to play aggressive, stealth sort of rushing, getting up in the spawns, up close and personal in this game. Now, this class setup, I like it with the Type 100. I think it's a really, I would say the Type 100 is kind of underrated right now because it only recently got to this good point after all these buffs, and there is so many that some people can't really keep up with them. But I definitely think that in this class setup, you can swap out the Type 100 for the MP40, for the Orso, Thompson. Those are a bunch of good guns that are good at rushing in this game, and of course the classic PPSH. So we're going to talk about all that, but I'm using the Type 100 in today's video. Let me know in the comment section down below what other guns you want me to cover, or which of the new guns you guys really need a class setup for, or anything like that. I would appreciate that. Let's get into this. So first of all, the division you're going to want to run if you want to rush is going to be Airborne division. Now, Airborne division is common to run with an SMG and if you're rushing, but it has been completely changed and one of the biggest workarounds or overhauls, I guess you could say, because in this game now, every single player has unlimited sprint. The sprint was decreased about 10%, I think it was, or maybe like a little bit less than that, but the fact that everyone has unlimited sprint does nothing but help you as a rushing player and adds basically a free perk to your class setup, but everyone really gets it, so I wouldn't say it's like necessarily a free perk, but it fits in perfectly with the rushing playstyle. Of course, if you're someone who likes to sit in buildings, that update didn't really help you out. It just meant that you were going to get rushed faster. So that's the first thing to talk about. Airborne division. Let's talk about what Airborne division does now. Number one, you get to fire guns while sprinting and diving, and that's one thing I see some people complaining about, is the fact that people say, why do you run weird now with Airborne? The fact is that you run like you have Gunslinger, because you do. You have Gunslinger basically built in from the basic training now. So you can fire your guns while sprinting and while diving. Now, I don't recommend diving around trying to shoot people or trying to sprint past people and shoot, but to get your gun up and get that first shot off, this is definitely a major thing. And while it can look sort of whack or weird as you're running around, I definitely think that is a good addition with the unlimited sprint to be running around with that gunny up, as I like to call it, and that's what I would say there. Next perk you get is the ability to reload while sprinting, which can also be something that can be good in this game. I think you can actually have the option to turn that either on or off via the settings menu, but reloading while sprinting is pretty decent to have for the fact that sometimes you need to run away and reload your gun as you're, simultaneously, so then you can turn around and hold a corner, hold a wall for the enemy to come back and rush you. So I definitely think that one is good. Next is to climb over obstacles faster and no damage from falling. This was traditionally on the Airborne class setup, and then of course you also have sprint faster over time, which I would say is the biggest. Number 1 and number 4 are probably the biggest on this one. The ability to fire guns while sprinting and diving, having that gun up, you can get that first shot in before you're even aimed down sights, and sprint faster over time is beautiful because there is a reduced sprint speed in this game, and that's why I stick with Airborne. Now, one thing about the Airborne division that was changed, or pretty much about all divisions, is you don't have that built-in free attachment. You remember you have the bayonet for the infantry, the silencer for the Airborne. You don't have that anymore. But as you guys can see in my gameplay here, I am running the silencer. Now, in my opinion, the silencer is a major aspect to rushing. I don't have it on all of my rushing class setups, but if you want to rush, and I figured in this game, like, you have to get up in their spawns, especially on a map like Flak Tower Domination. The spawns are so predictable that if I don't have the silencer, I don't have to be constantly rotating and moving. If I have the silencer against players that aren't as, even against good players, to be honest, sometimes it tricks me when they have it on the other team. It doesn't, or not necessarily necessarily trick, but it makes it harder to figure out where that enemy's at. So that is why I am running the silencer. It fits in perfectly with a rushing sort of playstyle, and I definitely do like that I have the silencer on this gun. Next thing I'm going to be running is going to be extended mags. Extended mags is very helpful, of course, while reloading, while sprinting is dope. Having 45 bullets is just a lot better than 30, and when you're rushing, you know, there's a rush class set up for a reason. I want to be rushing, I want to be pushing the tempo of the gameplay and be up in the enemy's face. You're going to need to run out of bullets or run into multiple enemies a lot, and the fact is the Type 100 doesn't have the fastest reload time, and a lot of these guns in this game really don't. The only way to increase that reload time is to run hustle, which you don't really want to give up your whole basic training just around one thing. So instead of giving up my whole basic training and running hustle, I will just slap on that extended mags, and of course now it does take me 45 bullets before I'm running out of ammo. And as far as my third attachment, and the beauty behind why I run this class setup with the Type 100 over SMGs, is the Type 100 is sort of a gun that you can just pick up and use. I don't have a grip on this class setup, which you need with most SMGs. I don't have a quick draw on this class setup because it already aims down sight super duper fast. Plus I can, you know, shoot while hip firing or out of sprint, and that kind of ties into my third attachment here, which everyone gets 3 attachments on each class setup with the new overhaul. I run steady aim, which is unique. You guys probably wouldn't have heard. I don't think maybe I put it, you know, definitely on some shotgun classes and maybe a couple SMG classes, but steady aim isn't something that I would usually run. But the fact is that with this new Airborne division and that you can run around with your gun ready to go and hip fire, I find that steady aim works very beautifully, and that's why I like to run it with this class setup, and it actually works out very well in this game. I put up a decent amount of kills with, you know, a good amount of deaths, but nothing, you know, just barely into the double digits on deaths, while rushing, putting up a good amount of kills, putting up some decent score streaks and stuff like that. Now for the final aspect of my class setup, and I will show the entire class setup up on the screen right now if you guys want to check it out. This is the whole thing if you guys are interested in secondaries or nades, which I don't really talk about much because they're pretty standard. Hunker is what I have to run as far as my basic training, which this is something that goes traditionally with the class setup. The unique thing about this rushing class setup, I would say after the update, is the attachments and how I sort of use Airborne. Hunker is not really unique. Unless you're running Armor Division, you still need Hunker in this game, because while they did give grenades a nerf, it was 5% nerf, or I don't even remember what it was. It was so minimal that I just you know said it in a video with the patch notes and haven't really talked about it since, because it really doesn't make that big of a difference. Now the thing I'm noticing with Hunker is, I'm not sure the exact stats on it, but it definitely feels like Hunker is a lot weaker than Armored is, which means that if you're really in an intense match, you probably would want to use a different class with Armored. But in this game, you know, if you're maneuvering right, you're using that silencer, you're rushing correctly, you shouldn't be, you know, in heavy nade areas. Those will hit more people that are not really camping but playing more stationary, and that's what I suggest with this class setup. That's what I like as far as the overall class setup. Type 100 is my favorite gun to run with it. And let's talk about the playstyle. Playstyle with this gun, pretty straightforward. You want to rush, you want to get up in their face, you want to be able to take out multiple enemies at once, prioritizing targets correctly, which just comes, there's not too many tips I can give with that, except, you know, take the one out that you have to get the kill on them, because they're going to kill you before you get them. That's how you can prioritize targets, but that just comes with experience and playing the game. And the key is you want to rush with this class setup, you run pretty fast, and you want to hit them from different angles. So if you watch this gameplay, sometimes I'll hit up through the middle, which I have the ability to do thanks to that Hunker perk. If I didn't have that, I would probably stay away from the middle, but I have the ability to do that. I can also hit them from the right or the left, and once I'm in the spawn, I can hang around. So the rushing part is getting into their spawn system. Once you're in the spawn, I guess people would call it spawn camping or spawn trapping. That's when your rushing is more side to side horizontal, because you can't go any farther on the map, or A, they're either going to spawn flip, or B, you're going to run into 4 guys at 1 second, which could be a really bad situation for you. That's the playstyle. Be unpredictable with this class. I think that's why I have success on this map, Flak Tower, is because a lot of people will play this map the same way every time. We all know when we're in a lobby with the guy who runs at that top window every time, and as we're running by it, we chuck a nade and a stun and get a free kill all the time. I like to hit from different angles so they don't really know where to expect me, as well as having my silencer on. Let me talk a bit more about that. I enable the silencer all the time. I've never been a fan of the suppressor or the silencer in this game, but with this Type 100 after the buffs, I find that if you're close range, like you should be with a rush class, it only gives you damage drop off at range, right? So if I'm close range, this is not hurting me at all, except for taking up an attachment slot, and I'm able to stay a little more stealthy, and it makes those, when I'm in their spawn, when I've completed my rush to their spawn, and killing a couple of them over and over, it makes it a little bit harder for them to locate me, and that's why I like it. So that's the total class setup. I find that this is a really amazing rush class setup in this game. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what guns you want to see class setups for in the future. Smack a like on this thing, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, sub for a cookie and out looky, and I'm out. Peace. Have a great night, everyone.